Minimize you. Okay, let's try this again. We awaken in a small room. We notice our equipment is gone. We've got these weird sigils on us. So we came to Tilverton to try to adventure, but things are already not going great for us since we've suddenly been stripped of our equipment. We are 5th level, pretty experienced adventurers who've done a marvelous thing before in the City of Flan and Pool of Radiance. Play that game to find out what we did. Now we have to go buy equipment. Okay. I've once again got a new party here. I'm having 2 fighters, a paladin, a ranger, for a couple of uses. Whoops. Slightly wrong way. Okay, so let's see. Magic memorize, one of my stinking clouds, memorize a whole person, rest, save the game, exit, head to the east, deafening side crash, use skin in. So in all this chaos that's happening, we are adventurers who came in the Forgotten Realms, continent of Faerun, over to the land of Cormyr from the Dale lands around the Moon Sea, where a lot of the early adventures of Forgotten Realms, the more famous ones, took place. And we heard that the kingdom was having trouble with a group of thieves and assassins called the Fire Knives. He's too far away. Kind of afraid of that. And so being adventurers who want to become involved in such things, we decided to come and try our hand, but along the way we were suddenly attacked by invisible enemies and captured. Yeah, that's okay. And a lot of missing going on here. Worst part is, because I have ally thieves, it's kind of hard to tell who's who here, but we'll do okay. We were attacked, drugged, knocked unconscious. When we wake up, it's been like a couple of weeks that we've been unconscious, we have these weird magical blue bonds on us. They're obviously magical because they seem to writhe and move, just like these tattoos on our right arms, which for some reason over the course of the entire game we can't hide. Everywhere you go, characters will react, NPCs in various areas will react to whichever bonds you have on, thinking that you're an enemy or an ally of the faction that bonded you. And even though we're wearing armor and stuff, we apparently are not covering them up. Okay, whatever. Morale happens in the game and enemies run away. So as we're exploring Tilverton, the king comes in, and when his carriage approaches, we suddenly feel compelled to attack the king. Turns out it's not the king, it's a guy, Georgie Wyvernspurs, a famous character in the Forgotten Realms lore. It's a couple of books and stuff about him, including the original Azure Bonds novel that this game was based on. It's kind of a sequel to that novel that exists in a separate universe, doesn't apply to any of the rest of the books. Move so slow and actually do damage. Not that it matters much. Nice thing about having a cleric in this game, we have a fixed command to easily heal and such. I'm just gonna quick comment. I wanted to get in position to maybe throw out some stinking clouds and stuff, but these dogs are easy enough. It's probably not worth worrying about it. Luckily, quick combat goes pretty fast in this game, sometimes too fast. You don't know what's going on. Some thieves, we surrendered after we found out it wasn't the king. Our compulsion went away, but some guards attacked us. After defeating the first group, the second gave us a chance to surrender, which we do because it's faster. And in jail, we were let out by some thieves who took us down into the sewers to, let's see, nothing really great here except for the dust and potions. Yeah, red can take the dust. Blue will take all the potions for now. Magic user scrolls are not really great either. It's a +1 longsword, but we're going to get better later on, but, well, I'm gonna go ahead and take that. So now we can rest here. There are only certain areas where you can rest safely, and finding those is a very useful thing in the game. Any spells that cause the enemy to be paralyzed, as it were, are very useful. I don't want advanced encounters here because they can be really slow, especially against things like monkeys. So for the first little bit of game, there are portions of the game where I'm going to be all right regardless of what happens, but there are going to be portions where I'm going to want to save and reload. So this first area is especially bad. There are a decent amount of encounters, and they're relatively slow because I don't have any abilities to quickly win fights. So it's just faster to reload the game. Experience you get from the battles is not worth much. These thieves, luckily, are not... you can save anywhere, so... We go through a secret door into the sewers. That's our first checkpoint. And in the sewers, we're actually relatively safe, especially if we go by these certain areas. I was doing the wrong thing there, trying to climb up to, look for what you call it, to search a trapdoor up above. Only a thief in bad armor can climb, and like leather and stuff, light armor. Okay, where did I go? Actually, the right way. I should have actually got it before. I'm not totally used to these maps yet. I have other ones memorized. We bargain with these guys. We agree to their bargain. They want us... These are Otyugs, really nasty things that live in places like sewers and garbage pits and eat offal and you know, just other horrible stuff. And there's another group that they want to take. They want their place. They really like it, but you know, it's currently occupied, so they want us to go and wipe out their area, and they'll give us some treasure that they have if we do it. But so we agree, but of course we're not actually going to do that. But it avoids a fight, so that's what's important. Burn the pieces of trolls so that they will do nothing. Okay, speaking of trolls, magical staff sling in here, which is good for my cleric. Trolls are really nasty critters. They're one of the, you fight 4 trolls in Pool of Radiance and early in the game, and it's one of the worst fights. You fight 4 trolls here, and it's a joke, especially if you have a normal mage with a fireball spell. Perfect. When things are helpless, they get one shot, no matter what the attack is, and no matter what you do. You're basically allowed this killing blow. The main thing I want here is the flail and staff sling for her. Girdle is more hit points, which technically I guess I can give to blue. It's actually worth a few hit points, so. This is also a safe place to rest. Memorize our spells. I should have probably cast a couple buff spells before coming in there too. Would have made it go low faster, but. Okay, this is a place where we can train. Unfortunately, we can't actually train right now. We don't have enough experience, but... Okay, now in the Fire Knives hideout, there's a small chance of getting attacked in this area. None in this area. Now we're about to break the game open. This is another area we can be attacked. Like that. We say no. We're almost safe from any encounters. So we need to find these 5 people who bonded us. The point of the game is to find them and kill them, or otherwise convince them to release us from bondage so that we can be our own people. They have evil plans for us, of course. The Fire Knives trying to use us to assassinate the King of Cormyr. Checkpoint to the west, that's good. We come into the armory, and this is the stuff we're looking for. Let's see, the first longsword is the important one, which I'm going to check because I'm neurotic. Yes, okay. Luckily, you don't need to identify magic items in order to understand what they do. So, bracers are cursed, stone necklace. The necklace and another mason flail, which I think are just the same as the last ones. Not a big deal. And now we're going to save the game, quit the game, reload the game, and begin the awesome semi-glitchy part of this. This is not really a glitch because they've kept it in 15 different iterations of the Gold Box games or something like that. But it's the ability to double up equipment, multiply equipment by copying it to a character who's not in the party and then loading a game before you gave him that equipment. Kind of complicated, but here we are. Okay, we're going to remove silver from the party, save the game as C, just as safety, add a character bags. Red has this dust and necklace and this new longsword. He is going to trade all 3 of these to bags. Now we're going to remove bags from the party. Overwrite bags, because you do that. And now we drop our party. Now we load our saved game again. Now we add bags back to the party. Transfer his dust, longsword, and necklace over. Remove him from the party. Look, we've got 2 dusts now. Save the game as C again. Add bags back to the party. Trade our 2 dusts and a longsword and a necklace to bags. Don't need to drop that, it's not going to do any good. Transfer a longsword and necklace to bags. Remove bags from the party. Drop the party again. Did I save the game? I might not have, which actually is an important thing to do before you... Well, I did, because I have the 2 dusts. Yep. A longsword necklace. And now Bags has a new longsword for black and a longsword for green. 2 necklaces and 2 dusts, which is faster if I transfer as many as I can to red first. Move over, save C, then drop the party. Nope. I'm doing it slightly wrong. That's okay. Not a big deal. Now I need to, before I drop the party, I need to add him back again and give him the items all over again. Trade more dust to bags. Trade 1 longsword to bags. Because I only need 1 more longsword multiplied. Because green has a new longsword too, right? Yep. Blue has a necklace to trade to bags, though. Okay, move, overwrite bags. Drop the party. To Violet for now. Okay. Don't need to do any more long swords. Okay, and for the last time, add bags to the party. And now add silver back to the party. Start trading him a few things. Let's see. Trade 2 to silver, trade 1 more to blue. He has 2 necklaces. How many does Violet have? 4 necklaces. Okay, that's probably fine. Now, with these items, we are going to be OP. First of all, we need to trade that longsword to silver as well. Drop that longsword. So now everybody's actually going to... kind of pointless to keep the bows around too. They're useful the first few fights, but now that we have +3 long swords, that's all anyone's going to use. Violet can stay in the back and use staff sling though. Although even the long swords we're not going to be using all that much because we now have necklaces, missiles, but there are many points in the game where we will need these long swords. Okay. We see a checkpoint to the west. We step now. Before we go to the checkpoint, we're going to cast with Violet, Bless, and Prayer, because that makes things go a little bit quicker. Use some of this dust. Dust is dust of disappearance. It makes us invisible. We surrender. They're taken to the leader. The princess Nicasia, who they've captured, bashes the lead fire knife and knocks him unconscious, which enables us to avoid being paralyzed by the bonds that he's put on us, because they can command us to do anything, including just stand still and do nothing. Yay, a weak one. So these necklaces are necklaces of missiles. They have a certain limited number of charges, which is why I created so many of them, but they can be used by anyone and they throw fireballs. So they'll do a random amount, anywhere from like 5 to 30 points of damage to everybody in a 3 square radius sector. Yeah, that's fine. So a few of these and even big groups will just start vanishing. Boom, boom, boom. A third one, and almost all the guys in this group are going to be eliminated. Not all enemies, unfortunately, are able to be affected by fireballs. There are a few characters that are immune or nearly immune that we're going to be encountering over the next couple sections. But I do have to be careful with them, because if I send my characters to auto, they will use the necklaces I have equipped, so I'm going to have to be swapping them on and off multiple times for the next little bit. And only 2 left, and so they're about to go down. So with this, we're going to be freed from the fire knives after an Acacia does threatens the leader. And voila, we're freed, but the king banishes us because we did attack him and we were controlled by the fire knives, and there could be other enemies that control us, so we can't be allowed to stay in Cormyr. So, we just got to magic memorize our bless and prayer. Probably pointless to use it. The first time I used it was in a fight where it was kind of pointless. Whatever. That's a finish as well. Journey on to Ashbin Ford. Doesn't matter where we go. We get attacked by hippogriffs on the way, which... outdoors are annoying. Fireballs actually have less AoE outdoors. The idea being that in a compressed space, an explosion is more powerful, I think. So we have to... they're still very useful, but they're not worth a lot of experience, so... Hey, Disrupt Drop, thanks. I can't get that guy without blowing me up too, so... Powerful enough fireballs will one-shot these guys, which is a little faster than attacking them. They don't have super great range either, so I have to be careful not to be too far away when I try to throw fireballs. Yeah, I can't quite reach. I'll do damage to my guy, but that's okay. He can take it. Okay, now we're going to enter the city, go to the hall, and let's see if we can train. We cannot train him. We can train to be a 6th level fighter, which is good, and 6th level ranger, 6th level cleric, 5th level fighter. Cannot yet be a 5th level mage though, which is kind of troublesome. I haven't autoed yet. Oh wow, I have a lot of platinum. So yeah, it's not platinum, it's in the way. It's I need about 6,000 more experience, which is slightly troublesome. I can probably do it after then though. So yeah, I think I can plan on that. That's not too big a deal. Which is the problem with using half-health mages in this, but I can get around it. Magic memorize. Spell magic just in case. It's break case emergency, not a great spell, but... Okay, when we turn to the Standing Stone, we need to go by the wilderness, so we'll be attacked by fire knives. A strange guy in a black robe talks to us. And now as we journey to Hap the first time, we're going to be attacked by black dragons, who luckily are worth a lot of experience, although they're also a dangerous fight. Dragons in first edition AD&D are kind of... what do I want to call them? glass cannons. They actually don't have that many hit points. 48 is a lot, but my characters have a lot more. Later on, 2nd edition and later games, dragons have enormous amounts of hit points when they're ancient. But, I mean, these are the most powerful black dragons you'll ever see at 48 hit points. Middle dragon done. But they can breathe fire, or acid in this case. Whatever their breath weapon is, they will actually do equal to their hit points in damage with it. So 48 points of damage, breath attack. Even my fireballs, my best one so far, has done a massive, let's see. Let's actually take off the necklace and just quick. We might be able to take him down with swords now. Except you're not close enough. Damage. Okay, this will finish him. Good. That was some experience, although not quite enough. So now we enter. Now we're gonna camp first and fix up. Save the game. Enter the city of Hap. Hap is being controlled by Dark Elves who are working with Dracandros, one of our guys. If we parlay to these guys and we're nice or meek, they will leave us alone. Normally you'd want to fight them because the more small patrols you fight on the street, the less you fight in the big boss hut, but we really don't care about that very much. We're definitely going to need Bless and Prayer here. We're also going to need more Dust of Disappearance. Voila, I need to go and identify those items at some point too. Probably right after I leave here, so I know what potions are which. In camp, say B. And the Afridi who's ruling the group, the Dark Elves. Dark Elves have 50% magic resistance or better, so they are, it's dangerous to be trying to fight them normally. Or I should say it, oh god. Sometimes auto combat backfires too, and your characters decide to act very stupid. Now because we're invisible, they can't cast spells on us. That's the most important thing about being invisible. We also have a much higher armor class. It's like worth an extra 4 to armor class, although it isn't shown. But enemies cannot target you with spells, so they never cast spells. And Dust Disappearance lasts forever. It's an incredibly, incredibly broken item. But we are, and so the ability to multiply it really makes this game go quick and smooth. Unfortunately, they also have really good armor class and armor. 0 armor class is really good, even at 5th level. One of them cast Resist Fire. I don't know if it even affected them because of the... Oh, wow, they're actually hitting. Not that it matters that much. We have a lot of hit points, so... Miss, miss, miss. Getting some pretty bad RNG here. Even at this stage, we shouldn't be missing this often. $7,000 experience. Is that? Yes, that is just enough. Excellent. We don't want to go back and claim our treasure. The people of Hap are extremely happy that we've saved them. Violet will now memorize. Okay, now before going to the Cave of the Dracolich, we're going to go train. In the wilderness. Okay, we're going to journey back to Assembra. They do have a training hall, so let's train to be a 5th level mage. We need a spell, not Fireball actually. We're going to learn Haste. And Red can become 5th level Paladin too. That's excellent. Okay, leave. Journey back to Hap. Doesn't matter. Enter the city, and now we're going to leave the city and go to the caves, and that enters the Cave of the Dracolich. Once again, these guys are... Salamanders are actually immune to fire. Not all fire-using or breathing monsters are, interestingly. Okay, I need to maneuver a few ways, though. I also, this is a slightly harder fight because I can't really use... Maybe I can. It's hard to say. The game is not very consistent when it comes to... Okay. Now we should be safe to do this. It's not very consistent when it comes to time passage during travel and such, so there's actually a good chance I could use Dust of Disappearance before entering the cave here. And I have plenty, so I think I'm going to go ahead and use one now. Oh, he has none. Let's go ahead and use up some Dust of Disappearance just to be safe. We're going to go collect this mark now to help avoid a fight later. So now some of the Dark Elves will automatically not fight us. We can actually run from all the fights anyway. And no penalties. There are other areas in the game and in Pool of Radiance where running is actually really bad for you, but in this one it actually is, it pushes you back a step, and that's like all. There are certain areas where they're really good. I don't use them nearly as much as I do in Pool of Radiance because I actually have necklaces of missiles for infinite fireballs instead, since they give that to you at the very beginning of the game. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and reuse some dust just to be sure. Not going to cast any spells before this battle, though. Like, for instance, in this fight, I could theoretically use Hold Person against the elves, but since they have 50% magic resistance, it's not worth it to really even try. And because of that, it's also not worth it to use my necklaces of missiles. So this area, we just go on quick and hack and slash everything down. One of the fights coming up, it's worth the risk to use Hold Person on a particular Dark Elf, because just the chance of it working will super speed up the fight on those few lucky occasions where it works. That's just like major RNG. Be prepared. Yes, definitely. Oh, God. Another patrol. Okay, now, I forgot to memorize my haste spell. That's kind of bad. Well, I don't need it super badly, though, so... We can fight the Dracolich now or later. I would rather fight him now when I have Dust of Disappearance. It isn't, unfortunately, super great, because he can still use a Paralyzing Gaze on us, even if we're invisible. And he's still got a really good chance to hit, but... Luckily, we've been resisting the Paralyzing Gaze. Okay, so he did some damage, but we're okay. Wow, he did some damage, actually. And I forgot to check which potion was which as well. Time to pump a little bit of healing into blue. I only have one more fight before I can rest, so that isn't super bad. But let's do all the healing we can. We now head up into Dracandros' tower. He teleports us to the top. His plan is to use us to start a fight between the dragons and the humans, which is really funny. He forces us to attack the dragons, but they're smart enough to realize that he made us do it, so they're like, release them from their weird bond, and then we'll see what happens. So if we attack the wizard, they leave us alone, and he runs away and leaves a couple of guards to fight us. And now we chop these guys down, and we can rest up here on the tower. Oh my word. He is just unconscious. That's crazy. I can't believe that our luck is going so bad that we're getting chopped up in these battles. It's not a big deal, though, because of unconsciousness. In normal D&D, interestingly, death happens at 0 hit points in the earlier editions, but in this game, they decided to be nice and not do that, as it were. Instead, you go unconscious at 0 hit points, you go down and are dying at -1 to -9, and you die at -10. So, unless we get to -10, death is not a huge deal most of the time. Now we need to use some more dust. And we need to definitely need to cast our spells, because this is really the hardest fight in the game, in the speedrun anyway. based on the level I am and the enemy I'm facing. So you're debuffed for this fight because he has a Shield of Pain. He's got a -7 armor class because he's in +3 plate mail, +2 shield, and he has an 18 armor class. He has 107 hit points. He's a high level fighter. And he's got near immunity to magic there, Chop. If I get a hold person on him, this fight is easy, but the odds of it are low. But because she does so little damage, it's worth the time and to try it because it just saves so much time if it works. So I have 4 tries, which, first of all, it has to get through his magic resistance, which he has like 75% since he's higher level. Nope, no lucky here. So we just have to whack him down and hope that he doesn't kill us. I have lost this fight multiple times in a row. It's the biggest RNG fest. Miss, 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 hit. There we go. Got him. Okay, this is his +5 drow longsword, shield, and plate mail. Let's see, gonna trade this to silver because he's the farthest away and lowest hit points. It's a +5 drow shield, drow sword. Drow weapons will disappear as soon as we leave this area, basically. They disappear in sunlight because they're made of a weird alloy that is only usable in the darkness. A cool kind of thing in there. Oh god, an armored contingent of Dark Elves attacks here. Of all things. Luckily, the groups here are small, so with Dust of Disappearance always active, we generally don't need to fear random encounters all that much. So they're quick enough to escape, but I definitely, geez, 1 hit point now. Woo! Golly, the bad luck is everywhere. But I want to use the opportunity to rest after blowing all my spells there. Okay, let's go ahead and use some more dust. Save my other spells, though. Okay, now the tower is always confusing. Right. I don't want to enter this door room here. I instead want to go down to this room. Take these stairs. We attack this elf. He's identical to the one we just fought, but luckily he disappears in a puff of smoke. He was just an illusion. This is the area that's always confusing to me. Armored contingent of Dark Elves charges. We charge the armored contingent. They don't actually charge us because they can't see us, so they won't even approach. They can attack us if we're next to them, but they can't target us with anything but melee weapons. I could multiply this armor as well, but it's generally unnecessary in the game with as much time as it takes. And the fact that if I do too much multiplying, it can actually turn off a party of Dark Elves approaches. And there's a set encounter right here, too. That's the crazy thing. The battle map actually corresponds to the main map, but if there are enemies in certain sections, they are not loaded, so I'm going to take a step and get into another fight with owlbears and Dark Elves. The owlbears I'll be able to burn down with necklace of missile fireballs. So we're going to go ahead and use those. There's a chance of them affecting the Dark Elves as well, like that one did there. But they always they work really great on the owlbears, so. These guys here can use them right there. Okay, so that's just about it for fireballs. Do you have a necklace equipped? No. Chop them up. I have to make sure to take the necklaces off so that my quick combat characters don't decide to blow up the party with them, because they're very bad at targeting. Alright, this fight's going pretty nicely. He's actually running away, which I think he'll actually manage to escape. You can escape if you reach an edge of the map that isn't covered by a wall, which is kind of arbitrary where those points are everywhere. Looks like that's not available. Oh, there's a chance to escape. They made it. Okay. Save after that fight. Okay. Yes, I want to take them. Attacked by a band of Dark Elves again. And a Frady-led band is one of the worst groups, because there are 6 of them. Most of the other groups are only 4. Ifriti, believe it or not, even though they're fire djinn, they are affected by fireballs, though they take half damage. Elemental weaknesses and such were present in the first edition AD&D, but they weren't as prominent or as strong as they are in later editions of the game or many JRPGs. The rules for this game follow 90% first edition AD&D. Okay, we actually want to go this way because it's a little quicker, a little less fighting. So I think. We also avoid an encounter going that way. Yeah, this was a really small and easy group, luckily. We take these eggs, which is what this Dark Elf lady who gave us this symbol wants. Now we're going to take a lot of damage. Oh, only 11? That's not bad. There's supposed to be a way to avoid that trap, but it never works. I've never been able to get it to work. If you examine this paper on the previous floor and pick it up and disable it, then all's good. Just for safety, I'm going to go ahead and use another dust here, because it may have gone away, I'm not sure. But we definitely want to not let these guys attack us if we possibly can, because wyverns have poison, and poison in first edition D&D is one of the broken it's one of the broken status ailments. When you're poisoned, you just die. And so not only do you have to be unpoisoned, you then have to You have to be both unpoisoned and raised from the dead. That's not going to be close enough. That will probably be close enough. Just barely for 1. Or 2, rather. One down. Okay, that was all of them. Nice. Okay, save B. Cast our Bless and our Prayer. Cast our Haste. Now, unfortunately, most of the enemies are immune or are weak to that, but I can't do anything else, so I might as well. That was a really powerful one, and it actually worked on the drow. That's good. Oh, I did not want to do that, actually. Well, she used her sling, luckily. She didn't use her necklace. Dracandros, unfortunately... Oh, he isn't immune. Okay, he's got some sort of invisibility on, so I can't directly target him. He used up his necklace, conveniently. Oh, nice. Dracandros, the most dangerous thing is Dracandros can cast Fire Shield, which will cause him to deal as much damage to us as we deal to him when we hit him. And so that's very bad. We don't want that. But if we kill him before he casts that spell, it's a pretty easy fight. What a place to run. Okay. Okay, doesn't have a necklace equipped. Good. Haste doubles your movement and your attack, so it's a way overpowered spell. And it's without those double attacks, it's almost impossible to beat that Dark Elf at our level, the Dark Elf Lord. Okay, now there is some really great stuff here, including this magic ring. I can't remember which ring it is. We will find out, though. Don't need the quarterstaff and bracers, really, though. Actually, yeah, actually, the right ring and bracers are better than plate mail, so. Quarterstaff is useless, though. Then we get additional treasure. Silver will take the 2 wands. We don't really need that. I think that's the other ring. We'll find out which is which. We still have a couple more fights we can get into from random. No, we don't. That's excellent. So, ready those bracers. -2 armor class right there. Oh yeah, actually that's very strong. I forgot that that was armor class 3. Or armor class 2 actually. Now we go to the wilderness. We're gonna depart the area. Our dark elf weapons disappear, and that's Dracandros. Journey to Assembra doesn't really matter. Oh, an impossible chasm. What is our favorite quest? What is our fruit? What does this mean? Nothing. That's supposed to be a level 7 paladin, level 7 fighter, level 7 ranger, level 7 cleric, 6th level magic user. Let's learn fireball. 6th level fighter. And so that's it. Did anybody overflow? Blue, it does slightly less because we went unconscious. That's it. And we have plenty of money. Good. Okay. Let's begin adventuring. Let's go to the inn. Let's fix. Okay, now our fixing is going to go a little faster because we have higher level cure spells now. You don't get them until 4th level. One of the reasons why I have a human female is only those will work. Fireball and haste. And that's all the spells we can get. Okay, let's go to the store. View our items. Let's pool our money. Your items, start identifying these. We don't really need them, but it's easier for me if I know what's what. Okay, don't really need to know those, but... Okay, giant strength, invisibility, speed, extra healing. Invisibility's bad. Extra healing could have been useful if I'd known what it was for a couple of those fights. What other things do I need to identify? I know those swords are +3s. I really don't need to identify them. Bracers are 2, actually. Staff sling is +1. Okay, wizardry. Oh, he needs to wizardry. We're going to trade that ring to Violet the Cleric so that she's protected. Fireballs and Ice Storm. That's good. Now, I don't need Necklace Missiles because I have wands. This ring of protection +3 gives her 3 more negative armor class, so she's a -5 now. And Ring of Wizardry will allow him to double his spells. Okay, I spent a lot of money identifying, but that's okay. So now I get 4 more magic missiles that I never use. Stinking Clouds I sometimes use. We'll go with 1 each. Why not? And I can use additional haste if I feel like it. Okay, next we need to go up to Moander. So we're going to journey to the Standing Stone. We meet the strange man who tells us who our next enemy is. It's Dracandros trying to eliminate his foes. Hillsfar hates us right now because they think that we are there, but okay, we're gonna camp, save the game, enter the city. We try to ask permission, we get hit. We parlay, we go with the guards so we can avoid fighting. This is where I actually need to save the game in case, because I have about a 50-50 chance here, slightly more than that. We let the men go. There's interim spies. They don't like that we did that, but yeah, you're obviously looters. That means they want to fight us. If we fight the guards, how you conduct yourself determines whether these guards like you or not, along with charisma and a couple of other factors used. Having a Swan May is good, which is why I went and talked to the Dark Elf. She makes us a Swan May. Talking haughty or nice is good, especially haughty seems to work better most of the time. But fighting the guards is very, very good. And if you don't fight, or not fighting the guards, the spies that are there. And so if you don't fight the spies, you only have a chance of going. But you please the commander. It's like always the second time if it isn't the first, it seems to be. I can just fight them. I can use a Dust of Disappearance before taking that step, so I have it, but then you have to fight other times too, so there are several checkpoints where you'd have to fight if you didn't have if you don't get things good with the commander. Use this Dust of Disappearance. Minor fight here, but there are a couple of mages we want to not deal with, so I'm actually going to... They might be protected, they sometimes are, but I'm going to see if I can hold them. Yeah, they are. That's okay. These are in too small quarters to use necklaces on, unfortunately. Okay, I think nobody's using necklaces now. Zentarim fighters are here are relatively tough. Cleric surrenders. Surrender is nice. The morale system in this game is pretty exact for... It works pretty well for considering the game is so very old. Their SSI who made it were more into tactical games, and so war games and stuff, and so war game effect here is very strong. I'm actually going to have you start using Ice Storm, which isn't great against these guys, but it's something. 10 damage to multiple is still pretty good. Shambling Mounds are really annoying. They have high hit points, low armor class, 0, the same as those armored Dark Elves. They do a decent amount of damage, and they're immune to a lot of magics. They take half damage from cold, no damage from fire, so fireballs are useless. And they're one of the primary enemies we face here. Moander, the god of slime, rules this area, so he... Shambling Mounds, which are basically slime monsters, swamp things, are one of the primary enemies we fight. Along with cultists who are all clerics, which the Dust of Disappearance is really strong here, because when you're fighting an army of clerics, they will all use... their hold person spells on you if they can target you, and things get really, really rough. But luckily, fighting these particular Shambling Mounds will give us a couple of good items, a couple more wands that are useful, one that is lightning and one that is the Wand of Defoliation, which is literally a magic item just for this area, because it hurts plant monsters like slime monsters and such. So Silver's going to take these, and this is going to now be his primary source of damage in most of these fights. We fall into a pit because we don't have a dwarf to lead us. That's a bit of a problem, but not really big. And we've taken a lot of damage again, so this is actually a good place to use Potion of Extra Healing. It has 3 charges, heals a lot, 35. Okay, this will be okay. We step forward and we enter the Pit of Moander. They close it off behind us, so we can't leave until we find an alternate exit. We're going to ignore the NPCs for now. We get a couple of NPCs who are cool guys who we pick up because it's just a little convenient and fast. But first we have to come down here. Safety saving because I'm neurotic about safety saving. Here we meet them. Join. Okay. Now we have a couple of extra fighters here who do stuff. One thing I can do with him is have him heal up silver for me real fast for just some quick extra hit points. This is it, the entrance to Mogion's place, so let's go ahead and use one more Dust of Disappearance just for safety. And this is where we definitely want to cast our spells too. Bless Prayer and Haste. Once again, they paralyze us. They're trying to use the power of the bonds to create the extra dimensional gates, but somehow it fails and we're released. And even though Shambling Mounds are immune to fireballs, Mogion and her cultists are not. So we can quickly decimate the cultists with fireballs and then chop up the Shambling Mounds. Elias and Dragonbait are going to use bows and arrows mostly. Yeah, I'm close, but whatever. Okay, you don't have a necklace, right? Go ahead and chop them up. Okay, you... I am not going to get that close. Because you've already taken too much damage. But you are going to use this Wand of Defoliation to extreme effect. If you aim it right, it does a cone area. Unfortunately, from this angle... it's kind of hard. I need to walk around to the side if I can. When you're invisible, if you retreat from enemies, they can attack you, what later games called attacks of opportunity. Used up his necklace, okay. But in this one, it's, okay, here I can get 3 with this. But they have the same effect in this game, essentially, so, let's see. But if you're invisible, of course, they can't attack you because they can't see that you're actually leaving. Oh, darn. I'm actually too close. Sorry, Blue. Oh, Blue's already... Oh. And he took more damage than Mogion did. Mogion made the save. He did not. Ow. Blue's getting chopped up. Gonna need to cast my spells here, too. Use Wand of Defoliation to hit both of these guys for heavy damage. I might as well use it for all it's worth because, okay, she used up her necklace. That's fine. Alright, so Mogion actually has, because you are so weak, my word, I'm going to have you take all 3 for now. In fact, I might just have you keep all 3. -9 armor class. Boom. Good stuff. Alright, no other important treasure here. But now the Dimensional Wrist Staff shut. 3 pieces of Moander made it through. So now we're going to deal with that. Okay, let's see what happens if I use it from this angle. Bits of Moand are harder to hit with the AoE, so I can usually only hit one at once anyway. Yeah, I'll just target one at a time and be done. They each have over 100 hit points, so this is a pretty tough fight normally. But since they really can't move, they move around us. In a game where I didn't have lots of Dust of Disappearance, I'd probably set up a wall and cast several... I'd have a couple of mages I'd want, and I'd cast a couple of Stinking Clouds to debuff them as they come in, possibly even make them choke and gag. Believe it or not, immortal tiny bits of a dead god are not immune to choking and gagging from bad air and gas. Okay, there's that fight done. Now there's some treasure behind the altar, but we're going to ignore that. Instead, we're going to heal blue. Let's see, Violet casts some healing spells. Luckily, we're able to evade slugs. Sometimes you can get a lot of encounters. Sometimes I don't have any encounters. Attacked by shambling mounds. It's pretty absurd the amount of time that the this thing lasts, the Dust of Disappearance. It's basically going to see me out of this dungeon. Come on. Excellent. Okay, these two will go down quickly. Don't have to be in melee range to hit both of the ones left now. Blue not being in the fight is not a bad thing since its hit points are so low. Okay, we're gonna fight Vegapygmies in this room. Vegapygmies are little plant people. So little plant people, I bet you can guess a good way to deal with them. They're not exactly weak to fire, but unlike a lot of these enemies we've been fighting this far, they aren't immune to it or magic resistant, so... From this point on, we have one more fight against Shambling Mounds, and then from that point on, it's going to be a whole lot of necklace of missiles burning our way through the game. Good enough. It's really wild. It's extremely wild that you get it so early in this game, too. And you can just use... Oh, darn it. It's too far away. Ah, but the wave got him anyway. Nice. Oh, God. More Vegapygmies attack as I move a step. Awesome. Okay, fortunately we're too close together to use Necklace of Missiles here. The Wand of Defoliation is still good. They're actually hitting now. They're big veg pygmies and small ones. And now they're running away. Okay. More giant slugs we can evade. That's a set giant slugs. And here's the final battle. So let's go ahead and have you cast another haste. Although we're going to be largely, well, a little bit. Yeah, you just attack them down. You four in front just, yeah, especially if you have fewer necklaces. You have many necklaces, so you go ahead and use them. You have many necklaces, so use them. Haste spell, so awesome. Okay, we're going to use Wand of Ice Storm here, though, because I can use it to hit a couple of these guys and the Shambling Mound. And now we're not, though, because he's too close. Okay. Okay. And that's it. We vanquished another group of enemies. Now we need to journey on really quick to Voonwar. Enter the city. Go to the inn. They like Zentarim, and they think because we're bonded by the Zentarim that we are Zentarim. Okay, now memorize, bless, all four of those. A hold person. Prayer, 2 cure serious wounds. Memorize 2 haste spells. Probably should have waited until I'd gone to the hall and trained, but level 8 fighter, level 8 fighter. So fighters will get me to level 8 by here, which is... Actually, 7 is fine, so yeah, I'm actually fine there too. Ice Storm spell, in case I want to cast it. Yep. I don't have enough money, so let's actually go to the store. Appraise. Share. Okay, now we have plenty of money. Hall. I still can't train to be a next level fighter, though. Okay, so I need more experience for that. The experience curves in this game are really interesting, and each class has different curves or experience. They make everything very basic in later editions, of course, but in first edition AD&D, they They had some weird stuff. Back to the inn to memorize. I get 2 more stinking clouds and another ice storm. Okay, now we need to journey back to Ulash, Wilderness. Journey back to Zentil Keep by Wilderness. Enter the city of Zentil Keep. Zentil Keep are well-known, the Zentarim of Zentil Keep are well-known evil people in the Forgotten Realms area, and they've bonded us. They want to use good people to commit atrocities by controlling us, and us especially to use some items, powerful magic items they found that are only usable by evil people, or by good people. So by controlling us, they can have these powerful items. Okay, now after this halfling bard, Olive Rusketta lets us in to rescue Dimswart from the Temple of Bane. Now we have to escape the Temple of Bane, so we have to go up this way. And I should have used my Dust of Disappearance right here. But, oh well. Because no time actually passes despite all this happening. So this Beholder is rescued us. The High Priest of Bane of the Zentarim appears, and they have an argument. The Beholder zaps him, he disintegrates, our bond disappears, the Beholder is bored with us, he leaves, and now we're engaged in a big battle, and we don't have Dust of Disappearance. So, let's, okay, these are just fighters. That's good. Three holds, that's nice. I don't need Wand of Defoliation anymore, it's useless, so... And we're too close to do anything, so just join the quick combat. And they can use, yep, they can use arrows against us, since they, are not, oh, wow, that was really good. All 3 of those guys are held. Okay. Need to use a dust. Oh, we've entered Cave of the Beholder too. That actually happened a while ago. And you have a high chance of fighting a lot of battles here. This room, the forces of the Zentarim and the Bane priests who follow Dexam the Beholder are all engaged in combat, and so pretty much every chance we have a chance of running into one of those 2 groups battling each other. They're semi-distracting each other, but not really great, unfortunately. But luckily, since these are just humans with no magic resistances, when they're in wide open areas like this, Necklace of Missiles just turns them into mush very quickly. There it is. Oops, that was too close to Blue. Poor Blue. He took 20 damage. One more fight. That's okay. So depending on how many battles I get, this area can have... This has really the highest encounter rate in the game, but conveniently with Dust of Disappearance and Necklace of Missiles active, I can go through them pretty quickly. He's used up his necklace. Nice. And now he has wands, though, to take the place of the necklaces, so the fact that he's out is not a big deal at all. Okay, now we're out of the main room of encounters. Attacked by forces of Zentrum Keep. These guys can be vulnerable to necklaces. Oh, I can't equip. Why isn't it working? I have to have hand free to use a wand. Different sound effect for that, too. That's the actual fireball sound effect. Necklace of Missiles, it uses a different thing because the action that it entails is it's a necklace full of all these beads on it, and these beads are explosive fireballs, so when you take them off of your neck and throw them. So that's actually what's happening there. So they gave it a different sound effect. Okay. Only a couple squares before another encounter, too. Something even better than fireballs here. Great place for lightning bolts. Wow, it hits the entire line, too. That's perfect. Ah, excellent. I'm actually really lucky here because my character is about to move into the line of fire of the lightning bolt. I'd be luckier if I just didn't get this encounter at all, but... Now, Minotaurs and Priests, this is a set encounter. There are a number of them in this section. Luckily, it's another section where necklaces of missiles are OP. I hope I don't run out of too many necklaces of missiles by... because of all these extra fights I'm getting, though. Luckily, he has a couple of extra, and she has a couple of extras, so I've still got one for every party member, at least, on them, and I don't need one for every party member because of the wands. Not even gonna bother using it. He surrenders. Excellent. Saves a bit of time. Okay, let's save the game. Attacked by forces of Zentil Keep. Kind of saw that coming. It was about time. Everybody having a necklace of missiles in the very final fight saves a lot of time too. Don't really need it, but it's just a good time save for everyone to be able, because there's a lot of enemies that are very vulnerable to necklaces of missiles that you can blow up. Okay, that's fine. Ice Storm's smaller AoE makes it more convenient there. Okay, I know where I'm at now. Hahaha, we see the shadow of Dexum. Ah, oh, jeez. Probably should have snuck. He's on auto. Well, whatever. A weak one. Okay, now this is the big fight. Against the Beholder. This is one of the worst fights in the game if you don't have Dust of Disappearance. Because the Beholder can use several spell rays a turn to disintegrate your party and turn them to stone and all sorts of other horrible stuff. But with Dust of Disappearance, they can't see us, so they can't hit us. How many dusts do I have left? 2? None. 3. Yeah, I've had a long time. Avoiding these fights is still probably better. So I have plenty. Good. I was afraid I might be running out. Dexum, the hooded woman, is a Medusa. She can actually turn us to stone without hitting us, though, or without being able to see us somehow, so we want to gang up on her. Okay, well, that was easy. Now we can fireball the rest, except for the Beholder. He's immune to magic because of his anti-magic ray from his central eye. That's basically how they work that into the game, just make him immune to magic in general. But it doesn't protect all of his underlings, unfortunately for him. I've had a lot of encounters, and it's still probably faster to reload, but I didn't want to save and reload so many times. From this point on, I think I'm going to, though, because I should only have 2 fights left outside of the set ones. Okay, that's that. Don't need any of the treasure. We got the Amulet of Lathander. Good, I didn't get a... I almost always get a random encounter there after fighting him, and it's crazy. More Minotaurs and Priests. This is one of the set encounters left. Luckily, they're a group that is very vulnerable to necklaces and missiles. And wands of fireballs. He is out of necklaces, so I need to get one from black. We've still got haste on, that's nice. I just whacked him with a wand. Still did good damage. Okay, view items real quick. Oh, he's lost one too, so. Okay, he only has one left. Here's the last encounter in the game, in this portion of the game, hopefully. We have to fight another Dark Elf Lord here. Wow, that's less Minotaurs than usual. Oh darn, he's out of necklace too. I need to get one from Priestess. He still has a -7 armor class, which makes him hard to hit. I can't trade in the middle of a fight. Too bad. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna hit black. Unfortunately, he doesn't have +3 plate mail that we can take anymore. They don't let you even take his thing, but he's almost as hard. We don't have the curse on us as well this time that he put on us the last time we fought. And we're out. Okay, now that's the city in chaos. Journey to Ulash by the wilderness, journey to Hills Far by the wilderness. Journeying by the wilderness is usually less encounters. Enter here, go to the training hall, level 8 paladin, level 8 ranger. Level 8 ranger is less effective, so. And level 8 magic user. That's nice. Doesn't really matter what I learn. Lightning bolt's probably more useful than anything else. Go to the inn so we can fix up. Haste, ice storm. Okay, and that is going to be it. Now we're ready for the final battle. So, journey to the Standing Stone. Here we see the man in black reveals himself as Tyranthraxus. He was telling us where to find his allies so we could wipe them all out and leave him as the sole master of us. So, yep. Now we get to journey to Mithranor. Enter the city. We're actually in a burial ground first, not in the proper ruins of Mithranor. That is bad. I'm going to reload. Because especially since there's so many of those insects. Most fights I can avoid by telling the other insects that my master is Tyranthraxus, but there are phase spiders are a huge pain, and they're dangerous because they can poison. How many... Journey on to Draenor, Wilderness, enter the city. Save here so I don't have to do that again. Let's go ahead and use a Dust of Disappearance as well, just for safety. And trade to green, I think green was out. Yes, okay, good. Tech. Spirit disappears. It's a fake spirit, a Rakshasa in the place of a spirit. Okay, we talk to these insects, we tell them our master is Tyranthraxus, and they leave us alone. No quarrel with him. Okay, we're going to take the woods, which puts us north. A patrol confronts us. We parley, nice. They demand a tithe. We pay them a tithe so we don't have to fight them. Much better. We've entered Myth Draenor now. So we're going to go ahead and collect the special magic item. We go to the rescue, kill these dogs. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just auto these guys and not worry about using any items. We should be able to take them out fast enough without. So he tells us where we can get a cache of magic items. These magic items are really good for the final fight, so I might not necessarily need them, but it's not too long to get, since I can avoid pretty much all the encounters here by paying a tithe. It doesn't even matter, I think, if I have no money. And I have to do at least one fight anyway, so might as well do that one. Jeez. Sometimes the RNG for these random battles is rough. This is the guy who's going to help us. His name is Nameless. We find the cache. This is a +5 longsword and a girdle of giant strength and gauntlets of something or other, which I don't care about. Shared the money, don't really need to. So now I have a 24 strength, which is super awesome. It's +7 to hit and +14 damage, I think. Jeez. So he controls us, tries to dispose of the items. The priest reveals himself as Nameless, a guy involved in the thing. It's too long to explain who he is, but he manages to not actually use the items, and he saves us, and now we're... Most of these guys I'm just going to quick combat. Except you are going to be using this Wand of Lightning again. We'll start on the back line. Kind of inconvenient place for fireballs and stuff otherwise. I could go bottom towards some, but just as fast to chop them up for the most part. Yeah, and we've just about chopped them all to pieces. Funnily enough, the Hellhounds especially are not very powerful enemies for this portion of the game. And even most of the groups we're fighting aren't going to be all that big. Margwales are okay, but I mean, things like the Minotaurs and Afridi that we've been fighting for, and even the Dark Elves are a lot tougher than Margwales and Hellhounds are. Now we have to chase down the running one, but oh well. And of course we get a random encounter at the same time because these things are pretty crazy at times. Most of these encounters are not bad. This is one I'd probably reload. But since I just had to fight that big battle, it would waste more time to do that, fortunately. There, all done. So that isn't very long. Oh, geez. One step? No way. The encounters in this area are rather strange. Sometimes they are in huge groups, and sometimes they, you can go quite a ways before getting an encounter. Oh my word. Jeez. Okay, well, a couple of hellhounds shouldn't be too hard. Oh god, it's the hellhounds and other things? Jeez. No, let me at least get out of the room before I get an encounter. I'd also prefer at least to be in melee with them. The extra time spent running towards them is actually where the biggest time waste is. Although there, I guess I could use necklaces of missiles, but since the range is only medium for necklaces of missiles, I might not be in range even so. If it's a small group, or at least if they're right next to me. Because some of these groups are really small, especially in the upper level. That's nice. Okay. Now, these guys aren't too far away. And there shouldn't be too many of them at this point. Well, there's still some, but oh well. I can fireball them right there and... they'll go down fast. Hellhounds are not immune to fire, which sounds pretty rough for the Hellhounds. You're too far away. Yep, 4 clerics is all that's here. That's an easy group. They do breathe fire, yes. But, as I mentioned a little bit previously, for whatever reason, first edition AD&D has some use with elements, but not a whole lot. Most of the dragons, for instance, are not immune to whatever they breathe as well, although I think they're usually resistant. They take like half damage, but it's a lot less than, it's a lot more than you'd expect them to take. Ifriti are also, who are supposed to be genies of the elemental plane of fire, are also not immune to fire, though they are resistant. They take half damage. Salamanders are immune to fire. They're the only enemy... No, they aren't. Shambling Mounds are also immune to fire because they're weird shambling... Oh my word. Leave me alone, Milbrooks. Yep, Ice Storm versus... you use that one of Ice Storm on the White Dragons actually works. Oh good, only 4. So this... Oh, especially with one like that. That guy managed to save against both fireballs, so he is still alive. Not for long. I have like 1 step to go. 2 steps. Okay, good. Now final battle about to happen. We cast Haste. Let's save the game just in case. We cast Prayer. Oh, I forgot to memorize Bless. Oh well. Bless is kind of minor anyway. And Blue, why don't you use a Potion of Giant Strength to get beefy like a giant. 21 strength now. Use 1 more Dust of Disappearance, just in case. And here we go. Final battle time. Alright. Now we can start using all of our spells here. We'll get him. I want to get all the priests if I can. Yep. A lot of enemies here. Now you can reduce the numbers in the final battle by going around and fighting a bunch of other encounters elsewhere in the building to diminish their numbers, but who has time to do that when it's a speedrun? When you can just get rid of lots of enemies by doing this. That's what I'm using here, Dust of Disappearance. They give it to you at the start of this game, and it's really absurd. It's the reason why none of these enemies seem to be attacking me. It's because they can't see me. They can't target me with spells. They can only attack me if I'm in melee range, and they, for whatever reason, they're not programmed to even try and run around searching for me. So they're all just going to sit there as I fireball them to death. It's also present in Pool of Radiance, and in my Pool of Radiance speedrun, the entire purpose of the speedrun is to get to the point where I can go to the Temple of Bane to get the Dust of Disappearance so I can go beat Tyranthraxus, because there are no other real requirements in the game. But in this game, since they give it to you right out of the gate, I can multiply it using an exploit that allows you to multiply items by transferring them to another character outside of a party and then reloading your save game before you gave it to them. And that way, just make as many as I need for the entire game. Depending, it might not be. It actually, you might be able to skip all that if you also make liberal use of those necklaces of missiles that you've got. I'd have to check the fight, because a lot of the enemies you face in Champions are a lot more dangerous than these guys are, especially since I have Dust of Disappearance, but it is a interesting question. Such a weak one. Now, Tyranthraxus is in the body of a storm giant, so he's trying to throw lightning bolts at us, but he can't even throw lightning bolts at us because he can't see us. I haven't yet. Since David TKI there did the Champions of Krynn and first showed that it's possible as a sub 2-hour speedrun, I'm probably going to be jumping on that sometime in the near future. I'm working on Secret of the Silver Blades. I might be able to get that down, but it looks like it might be very long. I also thought Champions was going to be a lot longer, though, so I might it might be shorter than I think, but I played around with it, and I am going to be working on that. But for now, I'm going to be focusing on this since I do have it in chop, chop, chop. Since I did get it into RPG Limit Break and I'm going to be running it there, that's going to be my main focus for the next couple of months. Plus, if I happen to get anything into SGDQ, I'm going to be submitting those today. Very low chance of that. That'll increase my workload, but if it happens, then, you know, whatever. And that's it. Tyrandraxus' slain body. We used the Gauntlet of Moab to destroy the Pool of Radiance, which is the source of its power. The Knights of Myth Draenor came in. Our last bond is lifted. They celebrate us for freeing Myth Draenor, the elven ruins, from the thrall of this evil demonic spirit. To a fine feast, you have won. And that's the end game screen right there. And voila. Now, at this point of the game, I can transfer these characters to Secret of the Silver Blades. I can actually remove them and then start a new game and load them up again, so you can play a new game plus in Curse of the Azure Bonds, which is also something I've thought about routing at some point or other. And that's the entire game, and that's a very, very nice PB, as I figured I was capable of doing. I can push this down even farther, but that's really close to the... I'm doing a little bit better on the maps, but if I keep practicing this for 2 months, hopefully I'll get to the point where I don't need to use the maps for this game, just like I don't for Pool of Radiance. And that will speed this up immensely as well, especially the Tower of Dracandros. That's the worst place for me for knowing where to go. But thanks for watching, everyone. That's my morning speedrun. I'm going to be trying to speedrun this every week. I'm kind of not a very regular speedrunner. Gets off and on in points, but now that RPG Limit Break is coming up and I am an RPG Limit Break, I need to be practicing this, so I'm going to be probably trying to work on that. So thanks for watching all. Just going to drop it for now. Probably host Speed Gaming and doing their no glitches allowed. So yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for to a couple of followers who signed on. Thanks for the follows, and once again, see you all later. Going to host. They're not anymore. We're going to host the RPG Valkyries. They're still doing their speedrun. Engine room, that's excellent. Okay.